So I'm Geraldine Young, founder and CEO of Pico Candy. So today I'm going to be talking about a couple different things, right? Mainly I'll be focusing on gaming and stickers. And so if you guys remember back in the day when there's like social gaming networks, we go there, we play games, we chat, we buy virtual goods, we dress our avatars, and then that's kind of like how we socialize. So fast forward, recently, I believe everyone in the room here probably is using one or more messaging app. And so there are 50 billion messages sent a day. These platforms, which I call them, they're not even apps anymore, are actually growing really, really rapidly. And we spend a lot of time on there because not only are we communicating with our friends, our family, our coworkers, but also on there using stickers, consuming content. And that's why these apps are some of the largest ones. They've actually added more features besides just communication. You can actually pay your bills in there. You can actually book a taxi. And this chart pretty much sums up what you see in these apps. So I'm going to put this slide on here for a little bit, and I'll talk a little bit more into it. As you can see, every one of them, starting from the left, has communication, right? So that's the first thing they did. And then stickers have become the second most important one, where almost every app, if they don't have one now, they will actually have a sticker store soon. And then they also have games. So games is the one where Facebook has just recently opened up their API, new messenger platform. And so we're looking for it, right? Obviously, we're hoping they're going to have games, just like back in the day when they had Facebook social gaming. And some of the biggest opportunities for us is we're all content providers. Just a show of hands in the room. How many of you guys are game developers or game studios? So you guys are IP holders, right? So you guys have characters, you have game IP, and this is why this talk is going to be really exciting for you, because there's so much more that you can do besides game mechanics and building your game. So what is the opportunity for us? As I mentioned, Facebook is one of the ones that open up the platform. You're starting to see Snapchat having, they want more content. Ultimately, all these different messaging apps have one thing in common. They want users to spend lots of time on their apps. They want to have more content so that their users can consume them. And then ultimately, they want brands, right? Advertisers to come in and not kind of like change the experience, but then also be there so that users can actually engage across the board. So this is really big in the gaming business, especially because there's Android Google Play. So Google was here early on talking about the Google Play Store. Obviously, we all know the iTunes Store. And now there's an alternative way of distributing your apps and your games to another platform. So as of right now, this is still kind of premature. We don't see a lot of these different platforms opening up their APIs and all that. But this is all going to change, and that's kind of like where the future is. So stickers are now one of the first things that they actually put in there. If you look at all the different sticker stores, you'll see like famous cartoon characters. You'll see some brands that you're familiar with. And why would all these messaging platforms have these kind of like content that consumers can consume? It's because when you have one sticker pack or one game that you like, you kind of go back again, and it's best when you actually play against other people. So currently in the stores where you see all the apps, the games on the messaging apps, they're mostly like single player. So Line and Kakao actually were the first to actually introduce games. They were one of the first to basically say, hey, we're going to have this messaging app. We're big in this part of the world. We're going to have stickers, games, and everything else. And now Viber has its games section as well, and Tango actually has a games fund. I'm not sure if you guys know this. So my company actually works with all these different guys. So Tango actually has a game fund right now that funds your game, right? So essentially, like you guys can publish games on Tango. So that's really exciting for this industry because there's Apple and Google and Facebook, and now there's all these messaging apps that never existed like 5 years ago, right? So these are apps that just came up like the last 3 to 4 years. So as I mentioned before, currently, if you look at most of the games there, they're not mid-core games, they're not hardcore, they're more casual. They're the kinds of games that you get on the train on the way to work and you want to play like a quick match 3 game, maybe a platformer kind of game. They have simulation games, and they're kind of like single player right now. So in future, maybe they'll be multiplayer where you can play against your contact, so you can play against your boss, you can play against your mom, so it's like, becomes more social. And all the different apps have not really published how much money they make on each game, but they do actually publish that they make millions of dollars on games just in one quarter, right? So you guys are familiar with, like, you know, for example, Line has reported that a lot of their revenue comes from games, stickers, and, you know, like some of the new services. Kakao is the same way. And there's one specific game that generated over 300 million to date. So it's only been a year. Do you guys want to guess which game it is? Anyone knows? That's right. So Disney Tsum Tsum. How many of you guys in the room played this game before? Or are playing this game? Okay, so I see like a couple hands. So obviously, millions and gazillions of people around the world are playing this game. And this is kind of like where the holy grail is, right? It's just like, you know, in the App Store, there's a success story of a most successful game where the developer makes, you know, millions of dollars, and this is where the holy grail is. So besides money, there's obviously also engagement, which is why I'm going to talk about a little bit more about, you know, ultimately you want to build long-term relationships with your fans. You don't just want to make money immediately of them. You want to actually have a long lifetime value with these users, because the next title that you put out, you want it to be successful. You want to cross-promote to your existing user base. So I'm going to talk about all these different things and discuss that in detail. So just really quickly, these are the games, some of the games in the Line store. If you see at the bottom there, that's one of their own games using their own character. If you guys don't know, they have a bear called Brown and a bunny, a rabbit, a bunny, that's Coney, and they make games with that. They also have third-party games like Cookie Run. This is the Viber store. So Viber has only 3 games so far. So this is definitely all new, right? So they've not been in the gaming scene that long. And so far, the games are actually partnered up with Storm 8 from the Bay Area, and they developed these games using Viber's IP. The purple girl, that's Violet, that's their mascot. Kakao has more games in Korea. So there's 2 different markets, right? So there's the market that when we look in our phone here, we're considered this other like part of the world in their demographics. So we see some games that the guys and gals in Korea see, and then we also have some other games that are more for like our market. And Annie Pang, I'm not sure if you guys know this game. It's extremely like popular. It was actually popular probably, I say 2 to 3 years ago when they had their first version. And do you see the similarities about all these different games? They're all match 3 games, right? So how many of you guys are making a match 3 game? Or have match 3 games? If you look at Candy Crush is also a very simple game, but then with the right game mechanics, and it's also match 3. So there's got to be some kind of trend here. And so this is one app. So this is one messenger, which I'm not sure how many of you guys are familiar with BlackBerry BBM. So they are still very relevant, I would say, in the messaging space. Maybe not in certain parts of the world, but they still have an extremely huge user base. And besides stickers, they also now have games. So this, as you can see, the games are more localized to where their user base are. So that's an example of their game. So now this is the fun part. How the stickers and games kind of go hand in hand together. So first I'll talk about stickers. If you guys don't know what stickers are already, they're basically emoticons that are large. You can send them. If you're running late for a meeting, you send them a cute bear, say, hey, I'm running late, and all of a sudden it becomes okay. You can say sorry to your girlfriend if you did something wrong. You send her like this really cute thing, and they're like, oh, okay, that's adorable, right? So there are just so many use cases. Even when you're chatting with your coworkers at work and you're really bored, you're also using stickers. So Pico Candy is one of the companies that actually is the supplier of stickers. So I'll talk about that in a moment. And stickers just speak a million words. And how the stickers relate to games. Let's talk about sticker transfers. Currently, there are 2 different kinds of stickers. There's paid stickers that people pay 99 cents or $1.99 for. And then there's also stickers that are free. So these free stickers are more, I would call them promotional stickers. They can either promote a real brand, right, an FMCG brand, or they can actually promote a game. So what is like exciting for us is that we all have games, we all have characters, we all have IP. So that is something where your characters can be outside of your game in other spaces where it can be viral. It can be actually spread across all these different platforms. And that's kind of like what the potential is. So some of the sticker stores, once again, I'm going to just use these couple examples. That's Viber Sticker Store. And so this is actually one of my company's stickers. So we actually represent them globally. So that's a cartoon animation company. That's Kakao Store. That's BlackBerry Store. They all kind of look different, but essentially they're all sticker stores. That's Line's Store. And this is where games and stickers really go together. So we don't know for a fact if it was because of this entire engagement that Line had that made their game super successful, generating that kind of revenue. But the Tsum Tsum game actually also has its own sticker pack. And I'm actually one of the people, so I don't play the game as much just because I don't have that much time anymore these days. I used to be, I came from gaming, so I used to play a lot of games. And now what I do is if I do like a game character, or in this case, I do like the characters in this game, I will use their stickers with my friends because I really have an affiliation with them and the characters can represent me in some of these conversations. They also use their own characters. So this is the Line Ranger game. Once again, they have their own sticker pack. So Line is not the only one that's doing it, right? So Viber is also doing it. So the very first thing, there's one thing in common with these guys. They did not launch this game first. The first thing that went out that was an actual digital representation of the character was the sticker. So Viber actually had the character out. People knew, oh, this girl with the purple hair. I don't know what her name is, but I know this purple girl from Viber. Well, her name is Violet. And sometimes people recognize a character from a game, but they're like, oh, I'm not sure what game it is, but I do recognize that character, which is, you know, this character that's jumping on platforms, right? So that is kind of like where the correlation is. And once again, this is another sticker pack that goes hand in hand with the game. As you can see, like all these stickers, they all have different styles. So they all kind of match up with the actual game and the image that the brand wants to promote. So when you guys are building games, we're all in the business of entertaining, engaging. We all want to make money, okay? There's probably no one in this room that would say, I want to build a game and I don't intend to monetize ever. Maybe not at first, but in the long run, you want longer lifetime values. You want like higher lifetime values. You want your users to spend more time in your game. You want them to basically like play your next game if you have like a part 2 and update to it. And how do you keep these users engaged? How do you keep them engaged when they're not playing your game? And it's all about mind share. How do you keep these people constantly seeing your character, seeing them sent across different social networks? And this is where stickers really is the way to do that. So there's 2 ways to do it. You can either sell your stickers and make money, or you can engage your users with free stickers. So couple ways how to do that. So probably you guys might be asking, so yeah, this sounds exciting. How do I do that? So one of 2 ways. You can either go direct to each of these platforms and say, hey, I have stickers, I have games, I want to work with you guys, and I want to put it in these platforms. Or you can work with a partner like Pico Candy, and we will basically distribute you guys through all these different platforms, the ones that I mentioned and more, just by working with one platform. So we are not just a content provider. I'll talk about that in a second. So what we did was we actually have a platform for all the game assets, all the characters, which in the form of stickers, to be uploaded easily to our marketplace. And then from there, we will basically distribute it directly into all of these platforms, for example. And these guys also have access to our dashboard. So who are some of these guys? They're not just messaging apps. They're also mobile apps, basically. So they're just various partners that we work with in the region. So if any of you guys are not game developers, but maybe you're a content provider, or you distribute content in Southeast Asia, this is where I think this is a great partnership that we can actually partner up to sell more content, right? So this is our technology. And I'll give you a real example. So this is one of the games. So currently, we're already working with game developers. We're working with some of the game studios. We're currently making their stickers. And so what we do is we have the platform for you to upload all your stuff. And then we have a content team that kind of manages all of these stickers and then creates them and makes them acceptable to all these platforms. The moment they're available, any one of these messaging apps can just come and say, hey, you know, I just want to launch this, and it's pretty much all set. So this is one of the games I like. I like French fries, so I use this game as an example. So from the game, they're turned into stickers. So this is what we do. We basically transform them, right? So basically, it's a sticker transformation. You're making one character become all these usable stickers, things that can communicate. So to date, we have transformed hundreds and thousands of characters. Pico Candy started working with the large licenses, the ones from entertainment, movies, toys, sports, and now gaming is a huge part of entertainment, and we're really looking forward to working with all the cool developers out there, as well as studios that have these characters that people can actually relate to. So on the other side, so that's on the content side, what we also do is some of these apps do not have their sticker store, they don't have their sticker keyboard. We also provide them with an SDK that kind of powers it ground up, and it's, you know, some of them will say our name, some of them will be white labeled, but essentially, we are a tech company at heart, and then we have a lot of creative people that brings good content in, and then we also work with a lot of great partners, like, for example, you guys. And ultimately, our goal is to have stickers of characters on everyone's phone, whether it's, you know, your game, and so they're playing your game, you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to use the sticker, and then they're going to use it in the conversation. So that brings to my next point, transmedia. So this is probably, so all the slides before, you probably have seen these screenshots, heard about all these. So this is something I think it's very relevant for content creators, for you guys who are making games, creating new IP. So some of you might be making games of existing IPs that are already famous, licensed, and then some of you are creating new characters or new gameplay that has never been done before. So what's transmedia? I'll give you guys an example. If you see a game really successful, I'm not going to name names, right? If you see a game really successful, after like a year, you see that game having millions of downloads, you'll start seeing merchandise. You'll start seeing, oh, there's a new cartoon that's coming up, right? Oh, I can see a backpack that has that character on it. Oh, I can see, you know, like all these different things. So that's where transmedia really is relevant for all of us. It's a very big vision, and not every character and game or IP holder can actually be in this journey. But we're all obviously looking forward to this. And there's two different types of transmedia. So not to really go into technicality of it, there's really two types, there's franchise and portmanteau. So what's the difference is, I'll give you an example. For franchise, I would say it's like a comic book, right? So like, you know, in Marvel, they have like the comic book, that was the original platform or media that it started on. And now you see t-shirts, games, everything else, right? And portmanteau, that's more of like, it's still doing the same thing, bringing the actual brand across all the different platforms, but it's sticking with one single story. So I'll give you two examples. In this case, Pororo, it's an animation series that's for kids. And when I say kids, they're basically like toddlers to like 7 years old. It all of a sudden transformed and really became popular. It started in South Korea, so they're one of the largest animation companies in Korea, in fact, I think the largest. And it became merchandise, it became stationery, it became all these different things that people in their 20s, women, right, would actually buy them, and because they like the character, it's really cute. Then it became games, where people like the games and then they play the games because there's the character that they like. And now we have brought them into stickers. So that's kind of like what the trend is. Do you see like they're all transmedia? So it doesn't matter if you're using your mobile phone, or you're visiting a friend's house and you're seeing the plush toy, or you turn on your television if you don't really watch television very much, you actually see this across all different media. And this is also what we have done with the characters. So some of the files were CG. They were not even 2D graphics, some of them were 3D. And so all of these things can be transformed into like stickers. How many of you guys know who this dog is? A show of hands. Okay, how many of you don't know who this dog is? Okay, may I introduce you the most famous dog in the world? This dog's name is Boo, B-O-O. He has 16.5, I think, million fans on Facebook. He is the most popular dog, and I would say the luckiest dog in this world. He has appeared on shows like talk shows like Oprah Winfrey and all these other talk shows that you can only watch on television. He's about this big. And so from social media, this is an example where it's a single story. It's still about the dog. There's no change of story. And he has basically, from social media, he has its own book right now. He has merchandise. And now he has stickers. So if you guys use Facebook Messenger, you'll probably see Boo stickers. If you use Kakao Talk, you'll probably see Boo stickers. His stickers is going to be on all the different platforms. So that's where we're bringing his stickers across the board to all different platforms. So eventually, you guys will know who this dog is. So, so this is an example where something that's make-believe, a cartoon character, and then an actual real celebrity. So what is the takeaway from today's session, right? So we all know that we spend a lot of time on messaging. We know these messaging apps are big. It's also really hard to work with them. It's also really, like challenging. How do I get to like that person? So obviously for us, when we first started, that was one of the first questions, right? Because we're supposed to be the partner for all these different platforms. So that's where before, so I was just gonna show you this. Before you actually think about, okay, how do I actually do business with these guys? The first thing you have to do is you have to create content that's relevant to the platform and the platform's users. So that would be creating games for the messaging audience. So if you're creating a game, it can be something out of a Match 3. It can be another puzzle game that's never been done before. And it's really cool. It's addictive. It's very it's got very good game art. Then this is where you can have games and stickers in these platforms. And you can launch them, right? Because thinking and dreaming about it is one thing. Actually doing it is the other thing. And then you can then have this whole cross-promotion, just like how you cross-promote 4 of your games together. This is a whole new, different experience of cross-promotion, and we're doing exactly that right now with our partners. And of course, while doing all of that, if you make 500,000 in your games, which is a nice amount to make if you're an indie, then you can also make money off your stickers. So with that, I will open up the floor for questions.
Hi, my name is Kelvin. I'm from Delta Duck Studios, a game developer based in Singapore. One thing I would like to ask is, how do people search for these stickers? Because we would like to know from a user perspective, do they search? There are so many stickers on the different platforms, but what's the main way they search for it, and how do you push it out to the people, the relevant people?
Okay, so the actual store itself, I'll just talk about 2 examples. So Line has so many stickers in there that it's almost impossible for you to find stickers in there unless they're in the top 25 or top 100. It's just like back in the day where there's the App Store problem, right? When you first launch, you have these games, and then they started breaking down into genres, like this kind of game, this kind of game, this kind of game. So a lot of the effort is done by both the platform and the IP holder themselves. So when you launch, they'll feature you. That's kind of like what we do. So every single brand that we launch, we get them featured, we get them notifications, we get them basically the actual platform promoting that launch. And how do you stay relevant and having your fans find you? So that's a continual everybody has to kind of put in that effort where your social media and your fans need to spread the word about your game and your stickers. So when they're playing the game, tell them, hey, my stickers are also available on these platforms. If they're using your sticker, tell them, oh, by the way, you can download my game on the Play Store, and it's also available on this messaging platform. So it's all about the same thing, right? I mean, you guys probably already know about cross-promotion, so that's one thing. I'll talk about another kind of store. So they also have a search feature in Line, so you can find and type in the word. I'll talk about another experience, which is a smaller store like Viber. So Viber has a more curated list of stickers, so they don't actually have as much yet. And in those cases, it's easier to find, but at the same time, it's if that number increases, then how do you actually do that? So just to sidetrack a little bit, this is one of the reasons why we actually built in our SDK a search, so that any of our partners that are using our technology or want to use it in the future, they'll be able to find them, relevancy, that kind of stuff. So ultimately, it's an ongoing experience for the user.